Now, anything outside of this granted authority in any reasonable conducts in furtherance thereof could in some way still be authorized. That is, the principal could still be accountable or held responsible for the conduct of the agent, even if that agent goes outside of this. And this generally happens with regard to implied scenarios where the actual authority of the agent is implied from certain characteristics of the agency-principal relationship. We most often see it in terms of the employer-employee relationship, whereby the employee is given a certain title. Now, this title would reasonably make other people believe that a person holding this title would have this commensurate level of authority. Then the agent undertakes activities commensurate with that implied authority. Then, once again, it is reasonable for third parties to believe it. The principal will be accountable for the actions of the agent, okay? So this is implied authority. Another scenario where that might arise is if the principal authorizes the agent to undertake some activity that is beyond the actual authority. To whomever knows about that course of conduct, it would be reasonable for them to imply that agent has that continued authority, that they can make that type of decision or undertake that type of action again in the future. Okay. Now, some people separate this out and say actual is separate from implied, but I like to group it all under actual authority. There's actual expressed authority and there's actual implied authority of the agent. Another way that this comes into play is through the fairness doctrine of estoppel. That is, if a principal seeks to deny that the agent has a level of authority, but there are reasons in the situation or scenario for a third party to believe that the agent had that level of authority, that is, to imply that they had the authority. The fairness doctrine of estoppel is the principle that would make the principal responsible or liable potentially for the actions of the agent. So that is how actual authority results from an expressed level of authority coming from the principal or an implied level of authority based upon the reasonableness of the circumstances. Now, that is actual authority.